first step that we're going to be taking is drawing a little circle. It's going to be a little circle right here. Then the second step, I mean, like, this is still the first step, but then attached to this circle we will draw a cylinder like this, because this is going to be the body, and then a little circle over there, or maybe even an oval, because that's where the neck will be attached to the body. So we're going to start with the shape like this. Then we want to draw the neck, and the neck, it's kind of like facing us in the reference that I'm using. So his neck will be turning that way, and then going sort of like this. And then we're going to draw an oval on top of that, because this will be the head of the Therizinosaurus. The tail, it will go like this. And well, maybe we should place the dinosaur a little bit more in the middle of the page, but I did it like this. So yeah. Alright, so now we want to have the legs in place. So we're going to draw a line like that. That's going to be the femur. A line like this, a line like that. This is the ankle, this is like the calf area, you know, this area. And then the other leg will also be attached to this circle over here. But we can see it go this way a little bit more. And then it goes down like this. And like that. Try to stay at around the same level. Try to level it out. Like, don't make sure that one leg isn't like in front or behind the other. I mean, like further up than the other one. So now we also want to draw in the arms and everything. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw some shoulders. So the shoulders are kind of shaped like this. So there's gonna be a shoulder over here. Actually, this shoulder is a little bit more like this. And then this shoulder will be right here. Alright, that seems about right. Now we want to draw the lines for the arms. Like, one arm is going here, and the other arm goes here. Like that. And attached to this we will draw a circle. Very tiny circle, because we're going to attach some claws to this. So one claw is going to be like that. One claw is going to be like this. The other one will sort of be like that. So that's one hand. Now the other hand goes similar to the first one. We just draw 3 claws. One claw like that. One like this. And one like that. Alright, so it's looking good until now. We are now at the part where we want to flesh it out. So this was step 1. Step 2 is to flesh everything out. So we want to have like his leg very muscular, you know, and we want to have his calf to show some muscle as well. And then this part will go down like that. That's his sure, like his ankle, I guess, this area. Not sure what this part is. It's still part of the foot, but dinosaurs walk on their toes, so it's kind of, you know, the part, like the flat part of your foot. They don't really use it the same way as we do. So then we flesh out this leg over here. The exact same thing as the first leg. The only difference is that the angle is different, so the shape will automatically be a lot different as well, because over here it's going to be rounder, you know, because of the angle that it's in. Alright, so for this one, just make a curve over here, and then we go that way. Make sure that until we get to the foot part, that the angles are exactly the same for both sides, like the same length. This ankle is a little bit thicker, but that's because of the angle, once again. So make sure that it's at the same level on the ground. What we're doing right here. So then we can see one toe sticking out here, and then one toe going like this. And on this foot we can see one toe over here, one toe over here, and one toe all the way over there. Alright, so now we have the legs and the feet in our drawing. But I want to have this, like I want to make this toe a little bit longer, so the nose is going to be over there, and over here will be a toe, something like that. It looks a little bit better in my opinion. I want to have a little bump over here, and then the Jew claw. I'm not sure if it's called the Jew claw. I just noticed that a lot of other people use that name for this specific claw, so I'm just giving it the same name, I guess, you know. So now we want to get to the chest area. Like I want to, you know, get the arm into place. So I'm gonna draw a very big muscular arm over here, and an elbow over here. Then I'm gonna draw forearm, and then the wrist will be attaching all the claws to the arm. Okay, so I also want to make sure that we have we can tell what part is the claw and what part is actually the finger. So I'm going to draw in a way that you can tell. Alright, that looks a lot better already. Because of the angle, the claws look very thin, but that's only because of the angle. Alright, that's looking good. That's one arm completely done, and one hand completely done. Now let's move on to the other. So there's a lot of fur on this dinosaur, so we will have to pay attention to that as well. So the elbow will be over there. And because of the fact that this arm is way more stretched out than the other arm, we see like the muscles are less thick, and the angle is different again as well. So obviously that's going to cause a different sort of look to it. Alright, so this angle, it shows that like the fingers are sort of bending. Let me see the length. This hand is also closer to the camera, which means that it's gonna look a little bit bigger than the other hand. So you can sort of clearly see the fingers here, way better than on the other hand because it's closer to the camera. Alright, so that hand is done as well. In my opinion, it looks like this hand might be a little bit too large. I can make it a little bit like thinner and tinier, but I'm just gonna leave it like this. It is closer to the camera, so naturally it would look bigger. The only problem that I have with this hand is that it's supposed to be a little bit more over here, you know, because of the foreshortening. This part is too long. But we could keep it like this, we could erase it. Let's just keep it like this because I already put down heavy lines. Alright, so now let's finish the belly, the stomach area. And he has a very big bump over here, which a lot of dinosaurs have. So we have to make it really recognizable. And his hip is very noticeable, and his back, again, is also very noticeable. Alright, time to get his tail in. Well, his tail, I don't really know exactly what his tail looks like, but in the reference photo it looks a lot like what I'm drawing right now. So we're just gonna draw it like like how I'm drawing it right now. Alright. So now it is time to focus on the neck and the face. His face isn't too hard, I guess. Like, it is pretty hard if you don't know how to draw this, but I'm gonna show you a very easy way. So basically what we're seeing right now is we're seeing his mouth open. So I'm gonna draw an oval because that's definitely where we're gonna be like looking inside of his mouth. And then around it I'm gonna draw his jaw lines. And then over here there's like a bump for his eyebrow. And over here we have his bottom jaw, but we can see part of the underside of his jaw, so we will be able to see like this area, you know. And then his jaw will be attached to the upper side of his head, right there. And then we're just gonna follow along this shape. Just try to copy me as good as you can. If you cannot copy me very well, it's okay. It will still look good. It will still look like the Therizinosaurus from Jurassic World. And if you heard that, that's my dog, who just was going to lay down. There we go. So there we have the basics on how to draw the Therizinosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. I believe in Jurassic World Dominion the Therizinosaurus looks a little bit more muscular and everything. Here's the eye, by the way. But the Therizinosaurus from Jurassic World looks a little bit more muscular and bigger and everything. I mean, we could make it a little bit bigger, you know. We could make his back stick out a little bit more, his hip stick out a little bit more, maybe make his leg a little bit thicker, like that, you know. That will make it look a lot thicker. But this is basically how you draw this Therizinosaurus. Now we're going to go to the third step, which will be like the detailing and shadowing of the drawing. But first, I want you guys to comment down below red car, because if you have stayed this long to watch my walk through the tutorial with me, I'm really curious how many people are going to be paying attention. So put in the comments red car for me to read it, so that I can actually see if you're paying attention. So now the next step is trying to figure out where do we want the light source to come from. I usually put the light source at the left top because it creates a very interesting kind of shadowing effect. So that's what we're going to be doing. So light source is going to be here, and everything on the other side of the light source will be shadowed. But we have to pay attention to the anatomy and to like the highlights of the dinosaur as well, because if we don't, it's just gonna look like one big black blob and we won't have any idea of what is what. Like, we don't know if this hand is in front or behind of the dinosaur, you know, this arm. So we have to pay attention to that. So what I'm first going to show you is I'm going to put some areas of shadow into the drawing. So for example, like there's gonna be a big shadow over here, but I'm gonna leave a highlight. I'm not gonna go into, no, I'm not gonna go into there. There's going to be a shadow over here as well, you know, going to be a little bit of shadow over there, and then there's going to be shadow over there, just a tiny bit. I want there to be a little bit of shadow Okay, let's first get a line for the middle of the dinosaur. Like that's the dinosaur cut in half, basically, you know? So everything on this side is supposed to be darker. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna darken this area in because it's supposed to be darkened, you know? But you do want to leave a highlight over there. So there's gonna be shadow over here. I'm just gonna draw the shadow in for you guys to see. You can copy me to have an idea. Then I don't want to shadow the full neck on this side. I just want some muscle structures to be seen, you know, like some detailing. I'm gonna take this opportunity to put more detail in. But if I'm gonna just darken everything in, then it's just gonna look like one big black shadow and we won't be able to, you know, see any detailing. So we need to leave some highlights in there. Alright, so on the underside of this dinosaur, we're gonna create a little bit of shadow. Don't make it too dark though. Just something like this and a little bit of shadow over there. The inside of the mouth can be completely darkened in. Completely. Until this part actually. Leave that white because there's still like a little bit of skin over there, like a little bit of white skin or a lighter color skin. Around the eye you can darken in this pattern that I'm showing you right now. And then behind the eye you can darken in this area. In front of the eye we're gonna make a little bit of a line like this. And then the nose is supposed to be right there. Okay. So now we're gonna darken in this line over here and leave a little bit of a highlight over there. We don't want everything to be darkened. We can put some shadow over here as well. Let's see. And then on the underside of every finger, we're gonna put a little bit of shadowing. Don't shadow it completely, just shadow at the parts where there's gonna be like padding of flesh and muscle, you know. Usually it's just flesh though, like it's just a little bit of padding of flesh, like that. And now we're going to darken the right side, the upper side of each finger on this hand, because the sun is over there and it's gonna cast a shadow on this side, more on this side than on the underside, the other side I mean. So that's good. Now we want to have a muscle structure over there, and there's going to be a shoulder muscle sticking out as well, which also will be darkened like that. And over here there's going to be a little bit of shadow, not too much though, just a little bit. And then we want a couple of shadows coming up from over there. Alright, it's looking good. It's looking good. So also, we want to have a cast shadow casted from this arm. So we're going to draw that as well. And on this side, the leg is going to be shadowed. It's going to be darkened in as well because it's going to be a shadow beat that's going to be casted on this side of the leg. And we can see some muscle structures, some muscles sticking out a little bit here and there. But we do have to pay attention that this part is completely out of the sun. So we're going to darken the underside of the cuff. This will also have a little bit of darkness in it because the muscle is preventing light to come to that area. And this is also completely dark. And then we want to follow the the toe muscles or the tendons over there. And let's get into more detail of the foot. Let's just draw the foot over here real quick. Something like this looks good. And then in between the toes, we can put a little bit of shadow. As long as it's outside of the sun, we can darken it. And we do want to have a little bit more of like a textural thingy over here, so it's not going to be completely dark. It's going to look a little bit more like that. So then this side, this muscle will be completely darkened, as well as this area. The knee will have a little bit of a highlight on it. Underneath the calf will be a little bit of shadow as well, and underneath this area we'll have some shadow. And underneath the ankle, because the ankle is rounded, we will have some shadow. Now we can finish the toes a little bit more. And in between the toes we put a little bit of shadow to indicate that these toes are actually separate. They're not one and the same. They are two different toes. Alright. It's looking good. It's looking pretty good. So we also want to have some shadow over here because this neck isn't completely straight, obviously, so it's gonna have some shadow on this side as well, because like the roundness of the neck is going to cause a little bit of shadow, plus there's going to be muscles showing there as well. So it's going to look something like this, but on this side it's supposed to be like a little bit darker, so that's what I'm quickly doing. As long as we keep those highlights, everything will be fine. Okay, so now we also want some detailing over here. The thing that I always like to do is draw a rib cage, and with that rib cage comes a lot of detail. So that rib cage is sticking out a little bit, and it's going to create a kind of a look of, I don't know, like he looks really muscular and thin already, and it's kind of what we're going for right now. Then this part will be completely covered in shadow, except for like a little bit of highlight of course, because it's going to be some parts that aren't, you still have to be able to see some reflecting light, you know, from the ground or something else. Like it's not always completely dark. Alright, so the Jurassic World Therizinosaurus actually has a lot of what's it called? Feathers. So in this video we're also going to be drawing some feathers, which will probably mess up the whole drawing. I hope not, but it might. I'm going to make this line a little bit clearer for the eye to see. Okay, so this part we're not going to leave too much of a highlight at the tail. We're just going to darken the tail. You can leave a little bit of white, like a little bit of a lighter tone near the line, you know, the pencil line, the outline. And then we're gonna draw same kind of something over there, same kind of like shadowy line over there. So if we weren't going to add feathers, then this would be the drawing. Well, we're not done yet. We still have to add some feathers. So what we're gonna do is we are going to draw some like the V-shaped things everywhere, but only on the back, only on the upper back, and a little bit on the neck as well. But we're not gonna add too many detailed lines, because if we do, then the highlight is gone. But we do want to keep a highlight over there. We do want to keep something of a highlight on the upper back area. So that's what we're going to do. There's also going to be some feathers over here that we cannot really see anymore now because there's already so much going on. But that's completely fine because we will be able to see it on this hand. So we're just gonna draw some feathers that are going to be sticking out a little bit. They don't have to attach to the arm because you can just make it look like there's a highlight there. Alright, there we go. And now on this line we want to create some patches, or not patches, but just like some fur that's sticking out somewhere, you know, at some places. It's going to be a little bit of fur here and there that we will see. And over here as well, it's going to start at the back of his head, or its head, and it's just going to continue down. And don't go too much overboard because we do not want to lose that highlight. We don't want to lose it. Right, and now within this these feathery areas, we're gonna draw some random like scribbly lines sometimes, and just try and create something that looks like fur. We're just gonna draw over the shadows because the shadows will still be there, you know, the shapes will still be there. Try not to lose the highlights that you already have going on, because if you lose that, then yeah, it's a shame. So over here it goes down the leg even more, a little bit more. Well, that's good because our legs, the legs that we just created, are a little bit too light for my liking, so we're gonna just create something like that. We don't have to get into too much detail in the tail, just put down a couple of little lines. Alright, so at this point I would say we are done with the drawing. Let me quickly erase that part at the top because it is bugging me. Maybe clean it up. You can always clean it up a little bit by erasing the sketchy lines that we put in at the start of drawing this. But if you followed along, this is what it should look like. Alright, so yeah, well, if you sticked until, like, if you watched the whole video and you know like what I was gonna ask you guys, please comment below the answer of what I was asking you guys. And yeah, so this is how you draw the Therizinosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion, like me. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment below what you think about the video and the drawing in general, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you won't miss a single video. So this was Sign as a Drawer, and have a nice day.